Apparently, Bernie had a good positive message on not giving into doomerism, which he actually used those words, and how we must refuse to live in despair. Hopefully, these are impactful words that will, improve my mood as well.
Gemma, and she writes, I have found it hard to avoid doomerism. How do I avoid losing?
I was a lot dumber 13 months ago. Thank you, HasanAbi.
Another question that comes from Patrick: is it ever going to get any better? Should I maintain any will to live? Now that's a little bit makes me nervous. Yes, you should maintain a will to live. And look, these are very tough times, and I think what we have to do is be honest about it and say these are tough times. But these are not the only tough times this country has experienced, or the American people have experienced, or the world has experienced. The 1930s, during the Depression, 25% of people in this country were unemployed.
His noise gate attack is too high.
You had children working in fields, children not going to school, working in fields, in factories. And, in 1941, when we had to deal with both Japan and
oh my God, I just realized I'm literally an annoying chatter right now. The first thing I hyper focused on, okay, keep juicing this tweet, by the way. Keep juicing it. We're not even at 1K likes. Immediately, the first thing I said was, oh yeah, noise gate attack is too high. Oh, I can't pay attention to what he's saying.
In Germany, and the rise of Nazism and Japanese imperialism, we weren't prepared to do that in 1941, but the country got its act together. And literally in a few years built the economy and the armed forces that we needed to save the world.
I'm seeing word for word your rhetoric on traditional
these are tough times,
tech spaces from new
but
leftists.
It is not appropriate for us to live in despair, because all of this is about is not just us. It is about our kids.
It's not a tag, it's threshold.
I have 4 kids. I have 7 grandchildren, and you do too. We are fighting for not just ourselves, but for the future and future generations. So it seems to me that despair is not an option. This is tough stuff.
Almost
and the victories are not going to be easy. We are facing enormously powerful opposition.
Okay, this is not that positive, dude. All he's saying is basically that, there were worse times in the past. It's obviously I know that, but also Bernie himself personally knows that because he's 700 years old. So he literally was there when time was invented, right?
But throughout history, that has been the case. People have faced enormous opposition.
Great
and
timing
things
with Mike from PA.
change. Things get better. So, and all we can continue to do is to keep fighting. Probably miss.
I've said something similar in the past as well. It's just
42 years has.
The reality is that being a leftist is about constantly taking L's gracefully as you try to make clear positive impact wherever you can, right? That's the fucking point. That's the purpose. That's what's going to happen. It's going to keep happening. But ultimately you do it because you know that you are leaving a better future for other generations. It's important. Look. The point is, it's incredibly easy to fall into doomerism. It's incredibly easy to fall into despair, especially at a time when everything seems to be falling apart. But the same principle that I always apply to my life and my personal experiences that I give as good advice when I'm doing chat advice segments and stuff is what? Create long-term goals and an agenda, and short-term goals and mid-term goals that will help you achieve those long-term goals, right? So if your long-term goals are about emancipation, you might not ever reach it in your lifetime, okay? You might not ever see it, but ultimately you will achieve plenty of short-term goals in the process and plenty of mid-term goals in the process as well. And that will give you confidence, and that will help you cope with the despair and the devastation of reality. So it's always the same. Yes, a society thrives when old men plant trees they will never see. And one day, all of you are young men right now, and young women and young NBs, but one day you will be old men. And hopefully by that point, we will have seen the needle pushed in at least somewhat more of a manageable perspective, in a manageable direction. And how does this work with climate change? It's the same principle for everything. It's the same principle for everything. In that situation, you quite literally need to sometimes,
2 months,
plant trees. I know that time is running out in that situation, but ultimately, there's nothing you can do other than try to do what is best by others. That's my advice for you, if you're wondering. And it will make you feel better. I mean, look, I could fuck right off tomorrow and decide to just do React content.
You are worthy.
I could fuck right off tomorrow and decide to do like funny stuff, collaborations, IRL streams, vlogs. I know how to make content that is captivating, that doesn't revolve around the world of politics. As a matter of fact, some of my banger videos don't have much to do with politics at all.
PP, I love you, hazelnut.
But the reason why I don't do that is because I find what I do now in the realm of politics, regardless of the sea of fucking hatred and anger and countless amounts of attacks, slander, marks on my reputation or whatever the fuck.
6 months.
All of that stuff is still manageable because I find what I do to be emotionally fulfilling. I believe in what I say. I have the incredible, profound fortune of being able to say whatever the fuck I want and being able to advocate for things that I've been advocating for 10 years, finally seeing the culmination of all of that work come to fruition. This community is the best example of that. You guys are what keeps me going. That's what keeps me going. That's what makes me fight on, regardless of all of the bullshit that I withstand. And that bullshit that I withstand is oftentimes nothing in comparison to, what the average person goes through on a daily basis. But it's always going to happen. So you just got to keep on trucking, knowing full well that your heart is in the right place, your mind is in the right place, and that you are trying to design a world that is better for future generations, even if you don't personally get to see it. And that is what motivates me. That's what guides me. And I believe that will make you fight off the despair as well.
Happy to be here.
That's why you got to keep doing what you're doing. All right? Real change takes time. What if you don't want kids? Who cares? You're not... When I say you leave a better society for future generations, I don't fucking mean literally your own children. That's an incredibly selfish way of looking at the world. I mean a better tomorrow for future generations and everyone.
2 years on.
That's why, as leftists, we advocate for civil liberties that don't immediately pertain to us, that don't immediately impact us, right? Emancipation is for everyone. Because injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So that's why you fucking, that's why you advocate for things. You might be a disaffected, disillusioned white dude, right? Living in fucking Idaho. Why the fuck are you advocating for, women's reproductive rights? Why? Well, you're doing it because your worldview is anchored around empathy. Michael Brooks, describing love in politics, how you're doing it. Cornel West has a great quote on this as well. I think he says, justice is what love looks like in public.
Make it all right.
Michael Brooks, rest in power. Yesterday was his second anniversary. Second, right? It's been not 1 year, but 2 years at this point. He passed away. Yeah. Holy shit, time fucking flies, dude. Let's hear what he had to say.
Love without power is sentimental and anemic. And power without love is abusive and corrosive. I'm paraphrasing. And that was when I saw it, I thought, well, here, okay, we know the left-wing Dr. King. Well, here's the Machiavellian Dr. King, and I love it. I want the left to have Machiavelli so that we can have the strategy, the ruthlessness, the clarity to actually win these battles and be ruthless with institutions. And then I want us to learn how to be really kind to each other, welcoming of a broad set, and actually have a movement that has the capacity to do that. That's why the cancel stuff is relevant, that Katie brought up, because it's a stand-in for this eliminationism of other humans, which is neoliberalism enacted. And it's also a contradiction from when we get utopian. It's beautiful. We're the people who sit around and we say, why don't we have a world where there's no prisons? Okay. That's a radical fucking statement. That's a real thing, and we should take it seriously. But then, on the other hand, oh, well, these people could never be part of our coalition because they made a mistake or said something. Like, it's a contradiction in what we're enacting. So what I get that I hope is in the realm of answering your question from this Dr. King clip was left-wing, spiritual, but also with a vision of power. And if we can synthesize those things, I think we will speak to the highest impulses of this country. We will be welcoming to people, and we will win.
Please check out the new videos from Blammo and Final Fantasy VII.
Be kind to individuals, but be ruthless to systems is something that I also firmly believe in, just like Michael Brooks did. He was a great dude. Michael was the GOAT. I feel like you're the only person carrying on the project of making leftist politics attractive, interesting, and funny. Yeah, I mean, he was a good friend and a terrible loss, but you know, we carry on his legacy. Some of you probably remember him from the Majority Report. Some of you probably watched the Michael Brooks show. Maybe some of you saw, bro, you go against that tenant every few minutes on stream when you torment random toxic chatters. Yeah. Obviously, when someone is being incredibly rude or bigoted, you just said it, like toxic chatters, and trying to derail the stream like you are doing in this beautiful moment, okay?
Can you please
where we are remembering Michael Brooks. You're behaving in an incredibly narcissistic way, with the exclusive reason of trying to derail the stream so that people can focus on you instead. What's your favorite memory of Michael? I mean, my favorite memory of Michael is really stupid, but when I went on his show, he had like this super serious, like political activist PhD guy that he was going to interview about like I forget which country's politics that he was doing. He was always like leftist with an internationalist perspective, and right before you are promoting his cosmopolitan communism like he's doing, without even trying, he had a small politics show on the Count, the Dings Network called Woke Bros. Even he was everywhere. What? He was a great man. I met him twice. He was incredible. You are legit promoting his legacy, man. I talked to his friends, and they love you and want you in the future. One guy, Big Wass from The Ringer, really was best buddies with Michael, and he didn't know of you, and he was very stoked to learn you were pushing a similar politics.
The truth
yeah, I mean, I'm friends with Michael Brooks. Like I knew him. I knew him very well. I've had him on my show, and also. Not only did I have him on my show, but also I went on his show, and someone was asking like, what was my favorite memory? My favorite memory is a really stupid one, but I went on his show, and the first fucking thing I asked after talking about serious subjects, where we were like doing impressions and whatnot, but one of the first things I asked him, and here it is. Here's
Remember
the video.
that time you asked him about dry jacking? Yeah, I do. I went on a show. I still have him blocked, by the way. I still have Sahil blocked.
Something that has been making the rounds on the left.
Yeah.
And it's a ferocious debate. And it is about, I don't know if I should do this, but fuck it, I'm going to do it anyway. Are you familiar with the concept of dry jacking?
Brain rot. Thank you, Hasan, for
This
everything
this is a really interesting direction for this show, Hasan. No, I'm not. I'm guessing you are.
Never mind. Let's not do it then. Never mind. It's not. It's just something that everyone wants. This is something that I ask people now, but we're not going to get into
Ask
it.
me on your. You know what, Hasan? Ask me when I'm on your show.
Okay, we'll do that.
I will get into the details of dry, because you know what the real thing is, man, is that after you, it's not just that it's my show.
Yeah, this is the worst part.
Which is of course a big deal. But it's also that, do you know who Milton Alamati is?
I do not.
He's like a mentor of mine. He's a fucking genius. And he just classes up the whole place. So to me, it's I already feel bad enough that we're going to make fun of Dave Rubin before.
Milton Alamati, for those of you who don't know, is a Ugandan-American author, journalist, professor, and co-founder of Black Star News. He's known for his critique of racist writing by white authors about Africa and Africans. He wrote a book in 2003 called The Hearts of Darkness, and in 2021 called Manufacturing Hate.
Or he comes on to talk about like Thomas Sankara. I can't be talking about dry jacking 20 minutes or 30 minutes before Milton Alamati's on. I can't do it.
I'm
not
so
right.
sorry. I know. I shouldn't have done that.
You know what?
You are the opposite of him in terms of class? Yes. I mean, he does like funny bits too. Don't get me wrong.
You know what you will like though, Hasan? I'll tell you this story. This is the Milton Alamati story. I'll tell you. Leading Nelson Mandela into Gapper, I sent a DM to Milton Alamati, Dave Rubin, or these guys at the California Democratic Convention.
I'll do either. It's your show, and I've already disrespected the boundaries by memeing entirely too close to the sun. So let's do whatever you want to do. I'm ready. I'm prepared. And again, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all good.
But I will ask you in private what the answer to that question is, or when you come back on the show, if you ever want to.
You literally are gonna have to explain what that means to me, though. Like not right now. But I'm not playing dumb with you.
I was about to too. I was like, no.
I don't know what it means.
Yeah. Didn't you follow up by doing this exact same bit with Sam Cedar? Did I do this with Sam Cedar too? Probably. I'm such a fucking idiot, dude. What's wrong with me? Anyway, yeah, that's Michael Brooks, baby. A legend. Once again, be kind to individuals and be ruthless to institutions does not mean allow fucking people to run their mouths and like attack people in this community. I hope you understand that. There's a difference between be kind to individuals and be ruthless to institutions. In the like when I shit on someone and I ban them or I call them a fucking scumbag after they're being transphobic, homophobic, bigoted in any capacity, I still want them to get healthcare. I want them to get adequate healthcare. I want them to live a life of meaning. I want them to be able to find fulfillment in the same way that I have been able to find fulfillment in mine. I think every human being deserves that. As a matter of fact, I firmly believe that if you have those amenities, if you have those human rights, you would be less likely to behave in a irrational, deranged, psychotic manner, right? So it's an incredibly chat-brained way to approach this, like saying, oh, you claim to believe in rehabilitation over incarceration, and yet here you are, perma-banning chatters. Like, dog, this is Twitch. I'm a communicator. I'm an agitator. My goal is to provide edutainment, right? Educational entertainment. And if you're derailing the broadcast, I'm going to fucking move on in the way that I want to move on. It's not the same as, my opinions on structural hurdles and systemic change. You're not getting punished. You're not having your human rights be removed from you. I know that if you live your entire life on Twitch, then it might feel like you are having your human rights robbed away from you, but it's not the same. It's not the same at all. You're just being put in timeout. You're being a bad boy, and now you're grounded. Do you understand?
A beautiful brain rot is born after 9 months.
So, there you go. I mean, I don't even, despite people's efforts to derail the stream, I don't even put on fucking subscriber mode for chatters. You know what I mean? Why is there a pervasive feeling of sadness? I mean, we're talking about a cherished, wonderful individual on the left who, unfortunately,
progress.
Passed
How
away.
Many people were open leftists even 10 years ago in the US?
Incredibly too soon, out of nowhere. So there's gonna be a little bit of sadness there. I don't think subscriber mode would help. Most of the shitters are 9-month subs. No, it really eliminates a lot of the shitters though. Mike would be insanely proud of you being a top Twitch streamer and being unapologetically leftist. That was always his goal, mainstreaming our shit. Yeah. Formal flavor. Thank you for the 5 gifted subs. The person that I just showed you was a friend of mine who passed away 2 years ago yesterday. The reason why I don't do subscriber only mode for chat is because I want to be as democratic as possible. All right, here's what Bernie Sanders is saying about Joe Jebediah Manchin. Okay, let's hear what Bernie had to say about Manchin.
Senator Joe Manchin, of course, abruptly pulled the plug this week on the Democrats'
plans. He didn't abruptly. Martha,
Okay,
okay.
He abruptly, on Friday,
he didn't abruptly do anything.
He was
has
negotiating
sabotaged
for a while.
the president's agenda. No. Look, if you check the record 6 months ago, I made it clear that you have people like Manchin, Sinema to a lesser degree, who are intentionally sabotaging the president's agenda, what the American people want, what a majority of us in the Democratic caucus want. Nothing new about this. And the problem was that we continue to talk to Manchin like he was serious. He was not. This is a guy who is a major recipient of fossil fuel money, a guy who has received campaign contributions from 25 Republican billionaires. Do you think this guy is serious?
Senator, okay, you say he wasn't serious, but Manchin says his main goal is to do what's good for West Virginia, and he's worried about inflation. Listen to what he told the West Virginia radio station. Listen to this, please.
Is that right?
Inflation is absolutely killing many, many people. They can't buy gasoline. They have a hard time buying groceries. Everything they buy and consume for their daily lives is a hardship to them.
Your reaction to that, Senator?
Well, look, the same nonsense that Manchin has been talking about for a year. West Virginia, it's a beautiful state. I've had the pleasure of being there. Great people. It is one of the poorest states in this country. You ask the people of West Virginia whether they want to expand Medicare to cover dental, hearing, and eyeglasses. You ask the people of West Virginia whether we should demand that the wealthiest people in large corporations start paying their fair share of taxes. Ask the people of West Virginia whether or not all people should have health care as a human right like in every other country on earth. That's what they will say. In my humble opinion, Manchin represents the very wealthiest people in this country, not working families in West Virginia or America.
And Senator Sanders, I want to end with, if these provisions don't get passed, doesn't look like they will, what does that mean for Democrats' climate goals and the climate itself?
Martha, it ain't Democrats. It isn't the president. It is the future of the planet. So,
That's so good.
And the
I mean, but like, Bernie's the only old person that cares about climate change for some weird reason. All these other old fucks are like, I'm gonna die anyway. Who gives a shit? Make me money. Fun fact, Bernie got more votes in a Democratic primary than Manchin in a Senate race. Wait, really?
If they don't understand inflation is the number one critical factor that we
this is the Manchin clip that Bernie was responding to.
That's hurting every family and harming our economy right now, it's inflation. And I'm very much concerned. I have never changed my position. I'm not stringing anybody along. All I said, can't we make sure that what we do does not add fuel to the fire? That's it. If they don't understand inflation is the number one critical factor that we have that's hurting every family and harming our economy right now.
He doesn't give two fucks about inflation. I mean, you could cool down the economy without triggering a recession with taxes, with the tax increases. So there's that. Colbert and Manchin doesn't care about inflation. Build Back Better was anti-inflationary. His real issue is that the climate provisions might cut the profits of his family's coal business. Yeah. Inflation doesn't seem so important when it comes to the defense budget for Manchin. No, of course not. How does he plan to reduce inflation? By killing workers, dude. Like, he's like, climate change will inevitably kill some of the working poor, so the fucking labor... Well, not killing the working poor, actually. What you need to do is make sure that the working class is exhausted and can't take advantage of the tight labor market. And push wages higher. That's the only way to stop inflation. That's just the only way to do it.